Hi guys, so we have started working on our sock puppets, and the first thing that we're going to need to start working on our sock puppets is our sock. So make sure you grab a sock that goes with the animal that you've designed. Hopefully you can find one that's the correct color. But if you are struggling to find a sock that is the correct color, I'm going to show you a method to color your sock quite easily, as long as you have something that can create color at home. So I've got some paint with me, and I'm going to use some paint to show you how to color this sock. So the first thing you want to do is you want to wet your sock. So go ahead to your sink, wet your sock, make sure that it's completely saturated with water. Here's our soggy sock, wet from the sink. And then you take your paint. You can use acrylic paint, you can use watercolor paint, basically any paint that creates color. And I'm doing a snow monkey, which is gray and brown, and so I'm taking some silver paint, and my sock is already pretty silver, so this is just going to add extra effect. And I'm adding some silver, and then I've also got some gold, which is going to help the brown of my monkey, and I'm just adding that gold color as well. So you can see now on the sock I have two different types of paint, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to rub that in, and I'm going to move that paint all around my sock. Same on the other side. I'm going to put that paint down on this side and some more on this side. There we go. So I've taken that paint and I'm just rubbing it all over my sock. And now, obviously, when this dries, it's going to be kind of hard because we've added paint to it. So what I do to soften it up is I run it one more time through the water just to take a little bit of the paint off and make it a little less hard when it dries. Alright, so then I squeeze the sock out. Make sure you squeeze all the water out so it dries quickly. Now you can see, if you look at my sock, it's got different textures in it because I've added some color. Can you see that? So this will add effect to my sock. I can add even a little bit more of this gold because I quite like it. So I add a little bit more gold, a little bit more silver, rub that back in, run it under the tap, squeeze it out. Look at that. So that, I don't know if you can see it so well on your side, but it really has got a nice shiny color on my side. So that's one way you can add color to your socks. So you just grab a little bit of paint, you wet your sock, you add the paint, rub it around, put it once more through the water, and then squeeze it out. And then you will have a nice cool effect on your sock. So if you start with a white sock, you can really make the colors show up. So now we're going to put our sock outside and let it dry before we move on. So you guys can see here that I added yellow and red to this sock, just in the method that I showed you right now. And then I got this nice color. This used to be a white sock, and now it's a brownish yellow sock for my hyena. So that's how I colored this sock. And then to add his spots, I just used a Sharpie. So if you've got some markers at home, they really do well for decorating your sock. But the next step I want to show you is how to put a mouth in your sock puppet. So you can see here, when I put my hand through this sock puppet, check how he's got a mouth. You see how his mouth can open and shut like that? I want your puppets to have a mouth that can open and shut like this. Or at least give you the option to give your puppet a mouth like this. Now that you've added color to your sock by wetting it and adding some paint, the next step is to add a mouth to your puppet. So you can see, like with my puppet over here, first I painted him brown, and then I let him dry, and I put a mouth inside of him. So when I put my hand inside my puppet, you can see he's got a nice open mouth. See? So the way we do that is we take our sock, we turn it inside out so that the seam of the sock is showing. Then we get a piece of cardboard. You can get some cardboard from a cereal box, and we fold it in half just like that to fit onto the sock. So it should fit quite nicely onto the top of your sock like that. You also want to make sure that you keep the heel of the sock facing upward. Now, I take some Elmer's glue. You should have some Elmer's glue at home. If you don't, you're welcome to come and get some from my art room. And we're just going to, inside the folded area of our piece of cardboard, add some Elmer's glue. So you can see there inside I've added some Elmer's glue, and then I'm careful to have my sock inside out with the heel facing upward, and I'm going to place that piece of cardboard onto the top of my sock just like that. Now we're going to let this dry, and then I'm going to give you the next step. So now that our piece of cardboard has dried onto our sock, the next step is to take our sock and to turn it the right way around. Grip onto that piece of cardboard so it doesn't break off, and pull it forward. And you should notice that your sock has created a little hole because of the cardboard inside of it. So now when you put your hand inside, you should have the heel on top, and you should be able to just put your hand inside and have a little mouth. Once we've done this step, we need to consider how we're going to decorate our puppet. So since I'm doing a snow monkey from Japan, I went ahead, I looked up snow monkeys, or first I looked up native animals to Japan, since that's my chosen country, and then I thought, okay, snow monkey looks really fun, and I have a grey sock. So I've got my sock here, and now I'm looking up an image of a snow monkey, and I can see there's an image of a snow monkey. He's pretty fluffy, and he has a pink face. So I was searching around, and I found these little pink hearts, which is going to work really well for a little face to my monkey. So if I can put that there, then I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do it. So I'm going to spend a little time figuring out how I'm going to put the little pink face on, and then I'm going to show you how you can think of creative ways to decorate your sock puppet. So lucky enough, these little hearts have little sticky pieces at the back, so I can just tear them off. But you can always use Elmer's glue for anything that you add on. Say you want to add some pieces of material that you've cut in certain ways, or you want to add some colored paper. It should go on just fine with the Elmer's glue as long as you let it dry and you apply enough pressure. So I've got some googly eyes. You can use anything that's round. You can use these pine cones that you should all have outside, and I'm going to put those so that he has like double eyes. So I'm going to go ahead and glue those on. Take my pine cone, just apply a lot of glue, and you have to be patient here because it will not dry if you move it around a lot. So I'm just placing my pine cones onto my puppet like that. And now if I show you guys, you will see I've put them in the right areas for my monkey's eyes. I'm also going to take a googly eye that I found in the back room, and I've got some blue ones here which I thought would be pretty cool for my monkey. And so I'm going to take these two googly eyes and I'm going to place them directly on top of the little pine cones. So I'm going to take these like this, put them on top, take that one like that, put it on top with a generous amount of glue, and now you can see he's starting to come to life. There's Mr. Monkey coming to life. The next thing I got to think of, obviously he's already got a mouth, and I am going to add some color to his mouth, but he does need a nose. So I'm going to take something very simple, which is tape. So if you guys have some tape at home, tape can make a wonderful nose. And all you have to do is think about the shape of the nose. So mine is a triangle. I'm just going to take a nice piece of tape, and I'm going to start winding it around itself so that I can create a triangle shape. You can also use stuffed animals from at home if you've got one that you don't mind cutting up. You can use anything, outdoor wood, pieces of wood, and you can paint them, or you can use cardboard. So think creatively about what you can use to create your sock puppets so that you're not running out of ideas. Think of what can I use to be super creative with my puppet designs. There's a nice little triangle shape for my nose. And now I want to add a little bit of puffiness to this. So I'm thinking, what can I add inside of it to make it puff up? And I have the leftover pieces from the hearts that I had. So I'm just going to scrumple those up to make my nose pop out a little bit more. And then I'm going to add another piece of tape on top. Now you can see my triangle has a bit more puff to it, and that's going to make for a nice nose. So now I'm going to take this, I'm going to take some markers and I'm going to color it in pink. So I quickly realized that I would need to use more than one of the little hearts that I found. So I've gone ahead and moved my eyes slightly up and added a couple more hearts in to give my monkey more of a face. So then I took my piece of tape and I colored it in with pink marker, and you can see his eyes are starting to dry now. So my next step is to start adding a couple more details. So I just found a little piece of material. Maybe you've got an old shirt of Dad's at home that you can use, and I've cut out a little triangle, and that's going to work for this little triangle on this part of his nose. Whoops, this way around. And I'm going to stick that down onto my sock puppet, just like that. So now you can think about, how can I do this with my puppet? How can I add things to my puppet that make him look more realistic, more like the chosen animal or the chosen creature that I've decided to use for my given country. Okay, so I've tried to think about how I can make my monkey fluffy, and I've found various types of wools. Perhaps you have some string at home that you can make fluff with, or some wool. And I've just cut them into little strands, and I'm going to add them onto my monkey. I also want to give him an inside to his mouth, like a different color. So I found some black paper. You could also use material if you have some old t-shirt at home that you're allowed to cut up. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to figure out how big my piece needs to be by holding it up next to my sock. It pretty much needs to be more or less the same size as that piece of cardboard that we put inside. So that should be good. So I've got my piece of black paper, and I'm just going to fold it up and see how that fits inside my monkey. So that fits pretty well. It's just a little bit big, so I'm going to cut that off. And then I'm going to take my Elmer's glue again, and I'm just going to glue it inside the mouth so that the mouth has a color inside. Alright, so now when he opens his mouth, he'll have a color, and my next step is going to be to add this fur. All right, so now I'm going to let them dry.